Hello, everybody. I'm back at it again with another one, another, another, another situation, another video with my thoughts on what's happening today. Um, First thing is, I was reading. There was a story in Soweto with the residents there complaining that spaza shops are charging exorbitant fees on card transactions, which is now that I think about it, and it was something I thought about last year, but now that it's actually coming back to me, why are spaza shops even charging us as customers for transactions that we are making to that? It doesn't make sense. Why is the customer being charged? So when you think about this, each transaction a person makes, because spaza shops are mostly found in townships. Okay, so they're not just found anywhere. You're not gonna find a spaza shop in Santon. You're not gonna find a spaza shop in Waterfall. You're not gonna find a spaza shop in Stellenbosch. There's certain places spaza shops are designated for, and when you look at spaza shops and how they operate now, per transaction, a customer, which is a black person most of the time, but a customer pays 3 rand to 5 rand per transaction of goods they are buying there. That does not make sense. That's backwards. That doesn't make business sense. And no one has even thought about just what is this? What is this? That doesn't make sense. Now, the second bit, right, is when you withdraw, because they allow for people to withdraw at the spaza shop. When you go withdraw, for each 100 rand, they charge you 10 rand. That is ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. Like, what the hell? Because let's break it down. If a retailer is giving you a service to withdraw, then the bank charges the retailer. It doesn't make sense for the retailer to then charge the consumer, because this service is not like any other service. It can't be treated like any, it's a banking service. Banks which operate in a country that does not allow just any bank to operate. So there's a lot of regulation to it. So when banks offer that service for you to withdraw at a retailer, they make it so that you as the customer do not pay. Why is it that somehow spaza shops have made it normal for people to pay to withdraw? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, but it's allowed. Look, I know what people are gonna argue. This is a foreign company. It's a foreign business. It doesn't have ties with government, with banks. So they have to charge the fees they charge. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Okay. In South Africa, businesses of scale, like the spaza shop industry, cannot operate without the banks knowing, without the banks being involved, without government knowing. It's not possible. Too many goods are moving. Too many goods are moving. They wouldn't allow it. So my thing is, we are being screwed. As the customer, you are being screwed. If you're gonna go buy at a spaza shop using your card, you are being screwed because you're being charged to buy there, and no other retailer does that. Also, when you go withdraw, you are being screwed because withdrawals, even if they charge you, cannot charge you 10 rand per 100 rand. What the hell? Like, what the hell? So I don't know. I don't know how we fix this, but it needs to be fixed. And I don't know how I don't know how we go about growing and moving on to what's helping us, because these are community shops. They should be helping us. And in their helping us, they're exploiting us. What the hell? So yeah, I don't I don't support what they're doing. I support the service they're providing. I just don't support the way in which they're doing it. And it's unfortunate because where else, what other options do you have? Right? Usually spaza shops are conveniently closer than what would be your average retailer. But ever since the news, you know, no, let me leave it. It's still in progress. Let's watch it happen. This whole containers of retailers going into communities. I don't want to say much about it, but let's watch it. But that's one bit. That's one bit. Um, the second story I've got here. Okay, this is something else. This could send shockwaves. So let let me say it properly. The Reserve Bank, right? The Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is calling to revise its inflation target for the next financial year. This has never happened. This is the first time this is happening in 25 years that they are calling for a revision on the inflation target for the year. I don't even know if a lot of people even knew this. The inflation target for South Africa was set at around 3 to 6% annually, which is wide. That's a very wide gap because understand they're dealing in trillions, billions, these people. So for that percentage move, that's wild. Because other countries have narrower, smaller percentages when it comes to the inflation. It's like a 2% to 3%, a 3% to 4%. But it's not as wide as a 3% to 6%, which is another thing. Why is it these things are not public knowledge that is being taught? Why is it you need to go digging for it? I don't understand, like, the way they want to screw us over. Jesus. But let me come back to it. They're calling for this revision, and in this revision they want to have a narrower inflation target. And it's good news for us because that means that they are setting a cap on inflation, a lower cap, possibly, on inflation than what has been happening in the previous years, where someone could inflate something by more than 4%, 5%. They could inflate it by maximum 6%. They could inflate it differently each year, which doesn't make sense. Whereas if they could price lock it and then speak on inflation every few years, there would be a better system for us, the consumer. But what is the good news in this is the possibility of deflation. Deflation. If this revision happens and there is some miracle, some unanimous call, some crazy vote budget or whatever, they they could actually argue for a deflation. And we could see for the first time in 25 years or more that the prices can go down. It's not that they say the prices went down. We, the people, notice and see for ourselves that the price has gone down. But deflation also, it's an enemy to business growth. So I don't know how they would tackle that if they decide they would even give us that. A few people would have to take hits, and not the citizens. A few businesses would have to take hits. But it's exciting. It's exciting. So that's my thoughts for the day. That's my situation for today. Um, yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna hold, but I'll be here. I'm gonna hold to it, and I'm gonna give you some more bits and pieces of the information, and I'll tell you what I think, my thoughts. But yeah, yeah. Cheers, guys. On to the next one.